So now we're going to look at SEO fundamentals. And this is really understanding the foundational components that make up SEO. So up until this point, we've really had a conversation around an introduction into digital marketing and understanding that SEO really forms part of the overall digital marketing landscape and forms one of those elements that make up digital marketing as a whole. So when we look at SEO as a whole, one of the important things we need to look at and we need to plan for and be aware of is essentially setting search engine optimization objectives. Now, why would we set objectives? Like anything in life, the reason for objectives is so that we know why we're doing it. Otherwise, we're essentially just doing it mindlessly. And when we take on SEO, we know that there's a lot of work that goes into it. We need to put in a lot of research. We need to produce high quality content. And there's a number of other components that we need to do. There's technical aspects we need to look at from the website perspective and all of these things. So if we're going to put this effort in and we're going to make this investment both in time and resources, we need to know what kind of return we want. And at the same token, we need to be able to look back and see whether or not we met those objectives. So some of the other reasons that we'd look at setting SEO objectives is what they do is they encourage buy-in from the stakeholders. So if you're sitting with your executive team and you're promoting the idea of SEO, what you would essentially say to them is that if we achieve good results in SEO, these are the kinds of results we could expect to see. And when the Exco team sees this, they can then see that you've actually thought this through. And when the results are met, it then supports your other initiatives around SEO. What they also do is they help to formulate the SEO strategy. So there are many things you can go off and do from an SEO perspective, especially if you're new to SEO or if the business is new to SEO and it hasn't really incorporated SEO before. Then what you essentially want to do is you want to identify some quick wins. Rather than trying to focus on everything and then not really achieve much, and spreading yourself too thin, here you can actually identify the key areas where you want to move the needle, and then you can focus on those areas, achieve the results, and then say, great, now that we've seen the success of that, we can then move further. And then, of course, looking at the fact that when you've set objectives, you can look back and see whether they've been met or not. So that essentially would be some of the high-level reasons that you would want to look at setting objectives for your SEO.